Who doesn't appreciate a good crop circle? From their unique shapes to their mysterious appearances, crop circles have intrigued people dating back to the 17th century. Today, we'll detail the history of crop circles, discuss some eyewitness accounts, differentiate between authentic crop circles and hoaxes according to believers, and finally, learn who is taking credit for the modern-day interest in this paranormal phenomena. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you thought the Mowing Devil was another College Mike nickname because of all the beavers he mowed down in college, you're wrong. Well, technically you're right, but stick around. We're talking about a different devil tonight. This is Necronomipod.
It's hard to tell any difference from ground level with this cornfield behind the Raffin family home, but one of their neighbors says that they saw something out of place, so they decided to get in there and see what happened. After wading through some 10 to 15 feet of cornfield, there's a clearing, a big one, and it's hard for the Raffins to explain what happened.
But whatever it had tremendous force to it, just by the fact that the corn is not knocked over, it's actually crushed.
It's so crazy it happened right behind my house.
Casey Raffin's friend first saw the downed corn, and they went to check it out, and their minds began to race at the sight of what they thought were crop circles.
I like to think aliens, but I don't want to think that there's aliens also, just because I live right there, and it'd be kind of scary.
So here's a fruity conversation I'm not sure if we've ever had before. Maybe we have. It's been 3 years. Who the fuck knows? You have a cheeseburger, meat, cheese, and the bun. You can only have 2 things added to it the rest of your life. What 2 toppings are you going with? You already have the meat and cheese.
Are condiments considered a topping?
Yes, condiments.
That complicates things.
I understand. It's a good one. Really makes you think about what's important to you in life.
It does, doesn't it?
I'll go first because I'll give you guys time to think because I didn't give you guys a heads up. So honestly, I only need 1 topping because my favorite burger of all time is a mushroom Swiss. And if I already have the Swiss, I just need the mushrooms. Now I will do like an aioli if I'm going to use up that second one. But to me, mushroom Swiss is my favorite burger and that's all I need on it. I would even say that the cheese you can change. So, you have free reign on that, but you only add 2 things for the rest of your life. I didn't really think I was going to stump you guys this hard.
I guess I'll take one of each. I'll take lettuce and mustard.
Okay.
I'm going to go mayonnaise and tomatoes.
I almost went with mayonnaise. I was really debating that.
He's all mind fucked now, like Dave with his F, Marry, Kill. Ian's like, oh.
Mayonnaise is in the top 5 lists of human inventions in recorded history.
Wow.
It's one of the greatest things on earth.
I don't think I knew this about you, Dave. Did you know he was a big mayonnaise connoisseur?
No.
Yeah.
Love mayonnaise.
What's like your favorite thing they have mayonnaise on? Like, is it like a BLT sandwich? Or is it just in something?
Like a club sandwich or
it's really good.
Turkey and Swiss, maybe.
Ham sandwich
with mayo.
It's going to be all of us eating tubs of mayo tonight when we go home.
I will say on tuna fish as well, because I heard from a lot of people how great mustard is on tuna after our discussion last week.
Did you get a lot of comments?
Yeah.
It's delicious.
I tried it. It's not good.
No, it's fantastic.
No, I don't find the flavors to be complimentary in any way. So for lunch today, to make up for it.
But that's you're not replacing the mayo with mustard. You're still doing the mayo, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, in the mix.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I didn't love it.
Oh, man.
Horseradish, much better on a tuna sandwich.
Maybe. I like horseradish. So? I like small amounts of horseradish. I don't like when it overtakes the flavor of something, but just enough to add a bite, sure. But that's kind of what the mustard does.
Yeah, I tried it like suggested. I don't love it.
Thank you for trying.
Yeah, sure.
And also thank you for everyone for coming to my defense. I appreciate that. This is a rare win for me. All right. So Dave, you said mayo and tomato.
Mm-hmm.
And you said lettuce and
mustard.
Okay. So there it is.
What do you think?
I think both would be all right. Yeah. I'm not huge on lettuce on sandwiches, but every now and then on a burger it could be okay. Mayo's great on it. Mustard's great. Tomatoes are great. So I approve.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Good question.
I'm surprised no one picked bacon. I was expecting a bacon pick.
I don't love bacon on hamburgers.
I don't either, but people seem to love them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Nah.
All right. No avocado. We're not fancy boys. We like avocado on our burgers,
I mean, I would do an avocado for sure.
but not in your top 2.
No.
Not for a burger, no.
Okay. We also, we mentioned this on, I think, the year-end show, but we wanted to remind everyone, since the first episode dropped and people were asking, we have a new show on our $10 tier, replacing the retired Bible Babble. Dave put in a good 12-month effort on that one, and finally came time to lay it to rest. We've replaced it with Necro Night at the Movies. So once a month, we all watched a movie and we talk about it, review it, give our takes, shoot the shit on the actresses, the actors, scenes we liked, scenes we didn't like, things we would change. And we let everyone, all the $10 patrons, know about a week ahead of time so everyone has time to watch it, should they choose to, and just have a good time with it. So the first episode seemed to go well. People seemed to really like it. We had people asking us when it was going to be available on our regular feed, and 'tis not. $10 patrons, Necro Night at the Movies.
Hereditary, Midsummer, double feature, first episode.
We kicked it off with a bang and did 2.
It was good. It was fun.
Yeah. We won't be doing 2 every month, but typically 1 a month. But we decided to kick it off with Ari Aster, his first 2 movies. Big wins. We had some people say that they were not fans of some.
Well, some people are wrong.
Yeah.
I've also recently seen some hate for Pig, Ian, commenting on how poor of a movie choice we provided for people.
Well, coming from 3 guys who just said we don't like bacon on burgers, we're not being very nice to Pig either. So people hating on Pig. So should we do that one soon? Cover that on
that's next month. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You guys talk about it all the time. I'm kind of intrigued to watch it.
It was just different. It was interesting. I don't know. It was above some people.
I went in with...
I guess if you're... Someone said, like, I was expecting John Wick. Or, like, what are you talking? That's not the kind of movie it was.
Yeah, it's just the
You lower your expectations. Yeah, that wasn't that kind of movie. It's not my fault that you didn't know what kind of movie it was.
This wasn't like a big, like, studio movie, was it? It was like an independent film type thing.
Yeah.
But it's not horror. It's like a thriller or drama. Psychological thriller.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Okay.
I went into it with 0 expectations.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was about.
Right. I just saw it said something like Nicolas Cage is in search of his pig. And I'm like,
that sounds fun.
All right.
I mean, it can only go up from there, right? Like if you go in with that.
It was just different.
Nicolas Cage looking for a pig. Okay. The bar literally can't get any lower. Give me something good, and this movie's already going to get better, with one scene.
The last movie I watched right before I watched Pig was that Willy Land or whatever, where he's like,
it's Willy Wonka. It's about candy, kids and greed.
Wow, my mistake.
Where he's like locked in like a Chuck E. Cheese kind of thing, and like the animatronics are coming to life and whatever. But he legit does not say a single word that whole movie. So I watched that right before Pig, and I'm like, well, we're only going up because he fucking didn't even say a word the last movie.
So it wasn't good though because of that? Like,
no, I liked it. It was
the Willy movie, I mean.
Yeah, it was like stupid, funny horror kind of thing. But after
as a kid, that would sound awesome at first, like all those games and pizza. But then if those things did come to life, I'd be like, fuck this. Try to hide in the ball pit or something.
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese murdering you.
Yeah. You like their pizza.
I think it's great pizza.
I have not had it since I was probably 6 years old.
And they have beer. I mean, you need beer to put up with all those kids screaming.
Yeah. I would imagine so.
I do anyway.
I took my son there one time for his birthday.
It's fun.
Yeah, and then the following week, some people jumped over the counter and started beating the manager's ass. And everybody said, I missed that by a week.
They didn't have enough tickets for one of those little army men with the parachutes that go up in the sky. And after one time, you can't use it again.
The surveillance camera, that's fucking crazy.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like all over the news.
Yeah. People are in the back just cooking. They just fucking bust through the door, just beating people up.
Poor guys just trying to make pizzas. Well, that's all I got. We'll see everyone next week.
That was a good show, guys.
Yeah. Oh, crop circles. We should probably mention those a little bit.
Right.
So crop circles are a staple of the UFO phenomena, just like abductions or cattle mutilations. Every UFO show has done an episode on them. Art Bell had multiple people on throughout the years discussing them, and Coast to Coast still has guests on talking about crop circles. I say still has guests because crop circles are 99.9% fake. The mystery of crop circles pretty much ended in 1991, but it's still fun to talk about, and there's some interesting side quests to go down.
Kind of like the mystery of the clit for you, Mike, right? Sadly, that has never ended.
Yeah. But I mean, it all still stands firm, like 99.9% fake, but the mystery and the journey's still there, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to search. You're not going to find anything, but go have a blast.
Crop circles and clits. That's Mike's new podcast.
People that are firm believers in crop circles point back to the start of the phenomena happening in 1678 with a news pamphlet titled The Mowing Devil, or Strange News out of Hertfordshire. The pamphlet talks about a farmer in Hertfordshire who refused to pay a high price that a contractor was charging him to mow his oat field. And the farmer swore that he would rather have the devil mow it instead. That night, the farmer saw bright lights out in his field that the pamphlet say were flames. Then the next morning, the field was found to be perfectly mowed, quote, that no mortal man was able to do the like.
It's a pretty cool pic on that pamphlet.
Yeah, it's like
the
this
devil mowing and shit.
He's just painted colored in completely black.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of like a cautionary tale. Don't summon or invoke the devil because they'll
You got to
mow your field.
Pay the troll toll if you want to get the boy sold. Always sunny.
There's also some reports in 1686 and 1880 regarding crops that had been flattened into circle shapes. Scientists at the time attributed these to vortexes of wind, like a mini tornado. But crop circles really kicked off in January of 1966 in Tully, Queensland, Australia.
That's interesting. You always think of the UK with crop circles, and I don't think Australia when I hear crop circles.
Early one morning, a banana farmer named George Pedley was driving his tractor past a lagoon on his property when he heard a loud hissing noise that was drowning out the sound of his tractor.
I also don't associate banana farms in Australia.
No, that's actually the most surprising part of this story to me.
That must mean they have bananas Foster for dessert. Australian for dessert.
The best part is how angry they get at us for associating them with Fosters.
I know.
But that's literally, we're brought up to think that.
Yeah.
It's on TV
Marketing.
all the time, every commercial.
Yep. But they get angry. Like they think we really believe it too. Like, you dumb motherfuckers. We don't drink that shit over here. Fuck is wrong with you?
I think they do. And they're just angry that they got called out on it. Like we get angry when people call us like fat Americans. Meanwhile, we just had a 30-minute conversation about our cheeseburgers and how much we love mayonnaise. We're like, oh, we're not fucking fat. We're not fat, lazy Americans. No, well, we just get angry when you call us out on the truth.
That's a great analogy, Mike. I like that.
So as he was getting off his tractor to check out what the sound was, a UFO lifted out of the reeds in his lagoon and disappeared, quote, in a puff of blue vapor. After a couple minutes of collecting his thoughts, George walked over to look into the lagoon, and what he saw was a circular imprint in the reeds that had a 30-foot circumference. The reeds weren't broken, they were just bent down, and most of them had been fused together, like something hot had melted them, but they weren't burnt. The reeds also looked like they were being twisted in a clockwise direction. Meteorologists thought that it possibly could have been a whirlwind, again, like a mini tornado, but that theory didn't account for how the reeds were fused together. With no real explanation, the incident became known as the Tully saucer nest, and from there, the news spread worldwide.
Were people taking the guy at his word and believing it?
From what it sounded like, yeah. And there were, a handful of credible meteorologists and things that came out and looked at it, and they couldn't
explain it. Interesting. The blue vapor. Poof.
Maybe it was just Ian out there just hitting his vape, walking around the lagoon, trying to have a nice calm afternoon. Becomes a whole big thing.
Doing a weed, and he made a crop circle in Australia.
I just started walking around in circles.
Guy's just trying to enjoy his afternoon, catch a little high.
The Tully saucer nest was the first true crop circle, but before we get into the big wave of crop circles starting in 1978, I want to stop off in 1974 real quick with the Arecibo message sent by Carl Sagan and Frank Drake. This will tie in later in the episode, and it's going to be super brief because it's very confusing physics and everything else. The message consisted of 1,679 ones and zeros, so binary code, and carried basic information about humanity and Earth and was sent towards the M13 star cluster. It was more about showing what we were capable of in technology rather than actually trying to communicate with extraterrestrials. However, just in case someone in outer space intercepted the message, it contained the following information.
So it's like a radio message, right? Like beamed out.
Yeah.
How can a radio message like both men and women? You said it was binary. Oh, my bad. Misunderstood. I'm sorry.
I love that serious look when and he's like, I don't know. And then you pull the punchline.
That's a serious question. There's no punchline. Dan. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the following information, the numbers 1 through 10, the atomic numbers of the elements hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus, which makes up our DNA, the formulas for chemical compounds that make up the nucleotides of DNA, the estimated number of DNA nucleotides in the human genome, and a picture of the double helix structure of DNA, the height of an average man, a picture of a human being, and the human population of Earth at the time. It had a picture of our solar system, including the names of each planet, and a picture of the Arecibo radio telescope and the dimensions of the transmitting antenna dish they used to send the message.
Interesting.
So their thought was if someone did find this, some being or species, hey, here's a quick overview of who and what we are.
Which I always found it interesting how Stephen Hawking always said, absolutely not. Like, we should not be trying to contact other civilizations in the universe.
Because they're going to come kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What, they're like, what, the average height? 5'9"? We'll kill these motherfuckers.
That's part of the reason why I believe in the interdimensional idea. And even Jacques Vallée and J. Allen Hynek, who are big, proponents of that's what they believe too. Like, an actual alien civilization would fuck us up.
Because we don't have the capability to get to any alien planet with our current technology. So if they get here, they're much more advanced than us. They're going to fuck us up.
Yeah. We'll be in big trouble.
So if they find us before we find them,
in this case,
probably not going to be good.
Home field advantage is not something you want.
No. It'll be like the Death Star testing, on the planet. On Princess Leia's home planet, whatever it was.
Oh, I love Star Trek.
Yeah, that's why I think there is something to that whole, that there's more of a psychic aspect to all this stuff than there is physical.
And then like 15 years later, they sent out Carl Sagan and his wife, what's her name? Like they recorded the stuff for the Voyager thing that went out, right? In the 80s?
I think so.
Like that message, that gold disc or whatever they sent on Voyager.
Yeah.
They're really into that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Sagan's cool.
Andrewian, that's her name.
Remember on like our 3rd or 4th episode when I thought I was thinking of Philip Glass. You said Carl Sagan, and then Philip Glass popped in my head for some reason. I'm like, fuck Carl Sagan.
I'm like, whoa.
Like literally our 3rd episode?
Yeah,
I remember this too.
Probably like Betty and Barney Hill or something.
Yeah, I was like, fuck Carl Sagan. He's an asshole.
Goddamn, Carl Sagan's one of the greatest Americans ever. What are you talking about?
I do remember that now.
It's going to be a long podcast.
I was thinking of Philip Glass.
We know how he feels about old Mr. Glass.
So yeah, that'll pop up later in one of the more interesting crop circles. But for the rest of the episode, I skipped out on all the stuff like Smithsonian Magazine's coverage of crop circles or that kind of stuff. And I had it
fucking lamestream media. We don't need that bullshit reporting.
I headed over to our trusted friends at Bibliotheca Pleiades.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
As well as the book Mysterious Lights and Crop Circles by Linda Moulton Howe and her website earthfiles.com. I think this is one of the only times we'll ever get to talk about Linda, unless we do a cattle mutilation episode.
That's fun.
This will be one of the only times we get to bring her up.
That's her main specialty?
Cattle mutilations.
And crop circles, like those two things?
Yeah, she got real into crop circles, but cattle mutilations, that's what got her actually into like UFOs in general.
I remember her from the Art Bell days. I couldn't remember exactly what her area of specialty was.
She's actually on there once a month, at least once a month for all those years. She just stopped in 2019. She like kind of resigned from being a monthly person for Coast to Coast.
Just to give like updates on the
all her Earth File stuff,
cattle mutilation happenings around the world, and
and a lot of climate change stuff.
Wasn't she big with Mel's Hole too? Wasn't she one of the people with Mel's Hole?
Probably
like on site at Mel's Hole investigating.
She was like really ahead of the times for climate change reporting. She won some awards back in the late 70s for her reporting on climate change stuff.
It sounds familiar.
And then she caught word of like the whole cattle mutilation thing. And then she just went down a whole journey.
Can I take a guess that Earth Files is one of those 1990s websites?
Oh, it's something else. It's bad.
His face lights up when you even talk about it.
He's a big fan of those websites. He likes going to bed at night with his retinas burning from looking at all these sites.
It feels like a warm blanket when you get to one of those sites.
ASCII text file I just downloaded and printed out.
Like this, the little fire things going off and scroll across the top. What was it? Which one was it? Heaven's Gate, right?
Yeah.
Had the site?
Mm-hmm.
That was my first, I think, exposure to one of those old sites that people still use.
Right.
It's good stuff. She's big into the crop circles. So almost every Art Bell episode back in the day, she would be on, especially if there were crop circles being talked about. Getting to some characteristics that believers point to. In authentic crop circles, the crops are undamaged and keep growing, whereas in hoax cases, the plants are crushed and broken. That was one of the biggest things that was hit on Bibliotheca Pleiades, was how these plants are bent. I'm talking like very, very detailed descriptions on what happens to plants and stuff. So we're not going to talk about that because it was really boring. But they're bent and they don't break.
What kind of crops are we talking about? Is it millet? Is it wheat, barley, or is it really just all crops?
Because
generally?
Or bananas, Dave.
That's right. We talked about bananas.
Like you said earlier, it's like makes you think of the UK. So it's a lot of oat and barley and
Like
wheat.
literally the most boring things you can think of.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the UK. Right? Like, I mean, come on. Don't get me wrong. I like the UK. I've been there.
It doesn't sound like
But
it.
what do you think of when you think of like walking through the streets of London? A gray day with like a mist. I was there. It was exactly that.
What was it?
For the week I was there. Had a blast. But it was as dull looking as you expect it to be. Like you wake up and you feel like you should have tea and like porridge. And you go outside and then you just get shit faced and then you have fun.
But it's what you make it, no? You should have been at the pub with the soccer hooligans fucking brawling and
Just
shit.
said. Then you go outside and you get shit faced. That's exactly what we did. It was a great time. Just saying. It fits the mold.
Yeah.
Wheat, oats. Like I'm falling asleep just thinking about whatever else you said.
Barley.
Barley. Well, yeah, I mean, you need that for beer, I guess. But by itself, snooze fest, right?
Snooze fest. That's the other thing with these crop circles. Like, aren't we talking about active farms and like farmers that harvest their crops and like they just like fuck up a big chunk of their
We never actually talk about the victims here.
Yeah, like it's not a victimless crime. Like, can you harvest the wheat after it's been fucked up like this?
I would say no if there's a UFO doing whatever they're doing.
Specifics, the changes and then radiation or whatever damage is done. But
radiation for sure. You would think that there would be some radiation in there. We're going to talk about magnets in a little while.
Love magnets.
All right.
There's a lot of magnetic stuff going on too.
Really attracted the magnets.
Maybe the farmers need to start a GoFundMe next time they have crop circles on their land. Just to make up for that lost cash. It's a lot of bananas you're not selling.
Yeah, like that's their livelihood. You're in there fucking it all up.
Yeah.
Stupid aliens. Trespassing aliens.
So they're big on the fact that the crops are not damaged. They're just like kind of bent over. The center of the circle usually has an empty area of dirt, but it's slightly off of the mathematical center by a couple of feet, which is odd because all of the believers point to that authentic crop circles have perfect geometry. Like they're very, very intricate. In hoax cases, you typically see the flow of the circle go in perfect rotations counterclockwise toward the middle, whereas in authentic cases, the pattern moves out from the middle in a distinct S shape, like kind of like waves, like it's just like waving out.
I mean, the intricate geometry stuff, at first glance, you're like, yeah, a person couldn't do that. But it's just simple math, though. If you plotted it all out, and it can't be that hard, right?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I'm sure somebody
Somebody could, sure.
That's better in math.
I just certainly don't have the patience for that. I'm like, fuck it, good enough. They knew we were here. Just gonna knock a few more of those banana bushels down. Well, I think we're going to get to some of that here at the end, right? How you can do it.
Yeah, right. But I think they always point, oh, look at the perfect geometric shapes. It must have been an alien. Well, we can do geometry here on Earth. Like, it's just math.
You just need a protractor. And
that's right. And a Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah. What's the little sharp thing?
Compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protractor.
Yeah.
Wait, but what's like the D-shaped ruler thing?
Isn't that a compass?
Oh, I thought that was the protractor, and the compass was the little metal thing you stick, and then you turn the pencil.
That's what I was actually thinking of, but I don't know.
I just have a degree in engineering. No big deal.
He built that condo in Florida. The one that collapsed.
That's my work.
I lied about the degree. They'll never check.
It's like when you lie on your resume and you're like, oh, fuck, they actually gave me the job. Oh, no.
According to investigators, 60% of circles appear on rainy nights. However, farmers and researchers often say that there is no mud on the flattened crop, which they say there would have been mud if it had been flattened by humans using boards or something to that effect. The soil inside crop circles a lot of times shows differences with the soil outside. There was a Canadian circle where the soil had been baked, like it got as hard as cement, and then the rest of the field was muddy as it should have been. Strange substances like jelly or powdery stuff are sometimes found on the plants and soil inside crop circles.
Hey, so I was reading more about that one. And interestingly enough, do you know where else they find this jelly and powdery substance?
Where's that at?
Mustaches on cops. You know, the donuts they eat.
Oh, man. Shout out to all our friends out there in blue.
Like donuts. Who doesn't love a good donut, right?
I agree.
Powdered donut or jelly donut.
Is there a correlation? Excuse me.
Guy's got COVID over
Sorry,
here.
I'm just dying over here. I'm just saying maybe cops are running around making crop circles.
Maybe that's the trace amount of jelly and powder. That's what I was suggesting.
It's just falling off their beards. I mean, while they're working, right, there's probably one guy just standing on the side with the box of donuts.
Yeah.
Like holding it for him.
Union break.
One of those little boxes of like Dunkin' Donuts coffee that you just, do the little squirt tab they bring to every business meeting.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
Likely culprits. The bobbies, as they call them in the UK, right?
Is that what they call
the
them?
police? The bobbies?
I believe so.
I think so. Sounds good.
Some of these sites have been tested and show high purity of silicon dioxide, magnesium oxide, and magnetic iron ore. People that are believers in crop circles say that the iron ore may be meteoric dust, which is constantly drifting down through the atmosphere to Earth's surface, but the concentration in circles is up to 600 times higher than the normal amount seen in soil, which would point to strong magnetic fields around crop circles.
So in theory, human hoaxers could not generate this type of crime scene.
No.
It's not possible. I'm curious about this 0.1% of authenticated cases.
There's something out there. They're not fully closing the door.
I want to believe.
You and Ian both.
Dead wild animals are rarely found in crop circles, but there have been a few exceptions. Some birds had apparently been caught in the creation of a 1993 crop circle and had exploded by the force.
Ouch.
Mixed in with the blood and feathers were small pieces of flesh, but there were no bones or any recognizable parts.
How do they know they were birds then?
From what I read, they were sent to a lab.
Oh,
I don't know what that lab is or any of that, but they were sent to a lab.
There's a lot of these investigators they take this very seriously. I rented this, and I'd like a refund on my $5 for renting this. It was called Crop Circle Reality. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. But
Was there any reality in this documentary?
I'm not sure that there was any reality, but like, what's the guy's name? A guy from Mexico, I believe. Frank Correa and Gary King's his name from the UK, but they're taking this seriously. They're out there investigating and filming, and they're legit. Like, they believe it.
Well, if you find a conspiracy out there, there's always somebody who's all deep dived.
They're all about it.
Yeah, there's a subset of the UFO world that take crop circles very seriously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a couple true believers. Don't rent that video though.
What was the production quality like? Like, did it look like it was from the 90s?
Yes.
Okay.
It was produced in 2021.
But it looked like it was from the 90s.
Yeah.
That's a classic UFO documentary.
Like, oh, this is brand new. There's probably lots of new information and stuff in here.
So their websites and documentaries all look straight out of the 90s.
Oh, yeah. UFO documentaries are absolute garbage. That's why I was so excited for the one that Tom DeLonge did with all those guys, with like Harry Reid and stuff. Mm-hmm. That one was really good.
I still have not watched that.
It's good.
Yeah, it looks real good.
It doesn't look like it was made in the basement.
Right.
There were also 2 dead porcupines found in 2 different Canadian crop circles. One had almost been completely disintegrated to a black charcoal material, and the other had been smashed like a pancake. Scrape marks and a row of standing broken quills showed that the second porcupine had been dragged to the center of the circle. The flow of the flattened quills on its body went in the same direction as the pushed down crop. Analysis of the other porcupine showed that the black charcoal part of the remains was not due to burning, and that part is a complete mystery.
Mystery of the porcupine.
Yeah, poor little porcupines.
I heard the porcupines are the biggest pricks of the animal kingdom. Apparently they're not very nice.
You need your little laugh.
There are almost always reports of balls of light or discs of light being seen over the fields, with crop circles showing up the next day or a couple days later.
Or in the same half a second. I saw a video, Ian.
Oh, yeah, the one we're going to talk about later.
The orb was actually creating the crop circle as I watched the video. More on that to come.
Some people have reported that the objects seem to be double checking their work. There have also been reports of crops that are usually loud with birds and bugs, but being completely silent the night before a crop circle appears, like all the animals left the area. Other noises have been reported, but mainly when walking around in the circle, people have experienced loud humming or hissing sounds.
After the fact.
After the fact, yes.
It's interesting. Like
There's
residual something.
There's a market for crop circles.
And only when people are walking around in a circle is what it says. So like if you're walking close by, you might not hear it. But if you're walking the perimeter of the circle.
Yeah, if you're inside the circle.
Inside of it, then you're hearing it. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a market for crop circles.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I sure hope so. We're doing an episode on it.
like a new age thing.
Okay.
Where people
like visiting.
Yeah, they'll visit them.
Taking samples from the site kind of thing.
And doing like, crystals and all that stuff. Yeah.
If this isn't the right time, we'll put it off. But like, what happens to these crop circles like after time? Do they stay forever? Are they just kind of, they vanish and crops are brought back up? Or like, what's happening to them? Or some farmers like, hey, come pay and look at this. They fucking ruined my crops, so
Yeah.
I'm going to make money. Come look.
I will say in that documentary I watched, they reference phantom crop circles where it just remains like years later.
It just never grows back.
It just never goes back.
So they're still growing all around it. And it's just
that's
like,
what it
they're just
seems
like, oh, that's my
Yeah,
crop circle.
It's kind of weird.
Okay.
I wonder if it would just stay that way. Well, you'd have to take care of it to some degree, right? Grass would grow through eventually and
I
stuff.
think so, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how a farm and crops operate, but that makes sense to me.
Your mental health should be taken seriously. Nothing can cripple your day or stunt your motivation more than feeling depressed, anxious, or sad. We all have a lot to deal with in our daily lives, be it the struggles of work, keeping food on your table, or even paying the bills. Your mental health is one area that you shouldn't have to worry about. Whether life currently has you down or things are going well, but you're still feeling unfulfilled, we're all experiencing our own form of strain on our mental health. And for that, BetterHelp is here for us. BetterHelp is an online mental health provider that will assess your needs and match you up with your own licensed professional therapist. And the best part? There's no waiting rooms. That's pretty huge, especially if you're as impatient as I am. BetterHelp is a safe and private online environment that will have you communicating with a counselor within the first 24 hours. And once you've begun, you can send your counselor a message at any time, always getting a helpful response in a timely manner. You even have the ability to schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all from the comfort of your very own home. So, whether you struggle with trauma, depression, LGBT matters, grief, anxiety, or even self-esteem, BetterHelp counselors have a broad range of expertise, and their licensed professional counselors are waiting to assist you. BetterHelp is available worldwide. In fact, so many people have recently been signing up for BetterHelp that they're currently recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Once you get started, if at any time you're unhappy with your counselor, there's no need to worry. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches and makes it easy and free to change counselors. BetterHelp respects you and your privacy, so everything you share with your counselor is completely confidential. And while it's not a crisis line, it is a convenient, professional, and affordable way to seek the help that you deserve. They even offer financial aid for those who qualify. If you'd like to hear how BetterHelp has assisted people just like you, check out the testimonials posted on their website every day. We here at Necronomipod want you to be living happy and healthy. So, as a listener, you get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/necro. Join over 1 million people already taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/necro.
There are some eyewitness accounts that Linda Moulton-Howe documented, and I saw a few documented on Bibliotheca Pleiades, so we'll run through these in chronological order.
So let me ask you, we talked about at the beginning, you said 99.9% are fake, which leads me to believe that 0.1% are authentic. Are these the ones that are considered authentic?
I don't know.
That's like that's the experts saying that. That's not you saying 0.1 are authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. Just trying to frame this.
I mean, where I got this information, like I said back when I was like, well, this is, where we're going to start with Bibliotheca Pleiades. All of this is real to whoever wrote that.
So you have to be a discerning crop circle expert in order to filter out all the hoaxes to get to the real stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
We're not trained to make that kind of...
Right. That's why I ask these questions, Mike. I just like to know who's calling these authentic.
And I don't believe even these are the authentic ones, right? These are just like the best of the best of like
I think that's open for interpretation.
alleged eyewitnesses. We're not saying either way.
Well, you know as well as I do that eyewitness accounts are the most likely to be true.
Of course.
Based on all of our past experiences.
In July 1934, a woman was looking over a field of corn when she heard a fire-like crackling sound and saw a whirlwind in the center of the field, spinning stalks, seeds, and dust up into the air about 100 feet up. She found a perfect circle of flattened corn, hot to the touch, and the plant stalks were evenly interlaced. The same whirlwind created a second circle about 12 feet in diameter in the corner of that same field.
Let me ask you, because it was so hot, was there popcorn all around? It should have popped all the kernels, right?
You know what? I saw on TikTok the other night that you can't just pop just regular corn. It's a special kind of corn.
That is true. It is a special kind.
Well, that's some bullshit.
It's got like a thicker husk or hull or whatever it's called to let it heat up long enough to pop. It's true.
You watching educational TikToks now?
There's this guy that does chemistry stuff that's really interesting. I watch him sometimes.
All right.
He like mixes chemicals and shit together. It makes like the other night he made a fireball that was burning green.
Damn.
It's pretty cool.
I had one of those like kid chemistry sets when I was, I don't know, probably 10 years old. I just used to try to make fires, mix whatever I could to make an explosion. It was sweet. I wonder what happens if we do this and this, and what if we put it in the microwave?
How successful were you?
Not really. I didn't learn anything.
Said you just let out fireworks in your hoodie.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did do that.
July 1981, a guy named Ray Barnes witnessed a wave or a line moving over a cereal crop in Wiltshire. After traveling across the field in an arc, it dropped to the ground and quickly made a 75-foot circle in a clockwise direction, just in a single sweep that took about 4 seconds. And this was accompanied by a hissing noise.
So it could have been a weather phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like related to wind. Okay.
Both the last two could be sound weather related. May 1990, couple Gary and Vivian Tomlinson witnessed a circle forming at Hambledon, Surrey. One evening they were walking by a wheat field when a whirlwind appeared, looking like a, quote, shimmering mist. So they could actually see like this whirlwind, it looked different. Like, you know what I mean?
No, but
it was a shimmering mist.
Crimey, is that a shimmering mist I see in that field?
And it was making a loud hissing noise. A strong gust of wind pushed them, and they both felt tingly all over, and their hair was standing on end. All at once, the wind scooped them off the path into the field. A 6-foot diameter circle formed around them within a couple seconds, growing outwards from the center in a counterclockwise spiral. The whirlwind then split into two. The first zigzagged into the distance over top of the wheat, while the second formed another circle nearby. They said it, quote, looked like a transparent glowing tube stretching endlessly into the sky.
That's interesting.
I'm just imagining this very large whirlwind, but it, it's kind of lighting up for some reason, and it's full of glitter because they said it's, what they say it was shimmering
mist. And they felt tingly all over, just like I feel when I hear College Mike stories. Tingly all over.
I don't blame you on that one bit. Who can fault you?
They said that this whole episode lasted about 7 minutes. They felt tired and nauseous for about a week afterwards, and Vivian had some pretty significant damage to her eardrums.
Sounds not splendid.
It sounds like something that could happen if you were in the middle of a weather phenomenon, like a...
Not alien related.
Does not seem like it would be alien related.
I just meant feeling nauseous for a week. Sounds unpleasant.
It doesn't sound great.
At some point, you're like, can I just throw up already and get this over with?
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
June 7th, 1999, a man in the Netherlands noticed a small pinkish white light in the sky, which was moving slow and seemed to be moving toward him. In just a few seconds, it took on an elliptical shape and hovered about 6 feet from the ground. And the air started to warm up. Like he said, like it was turning seasons. And then the light slowly faded and disappeared. And this guy ran into the field and discovered a fresh circle of flattened crop. He noticed that the crop, the soil, and the air felt warm. Less than a week later, a second formation appeared not far from the first. This time, a brief flash of bright white bluish light was seen, which seemed to come up from a single point above the field. This guy checked it out again, and another circle was found, which also felt warm.
I mean, I've heard of treadmill-shaped pinkish white light, but never elliptical before. So it does seem out of the ordinary.
It is strange, isn't it?
So stupid.
There's a lot of eyewitness accounts and stories, but it's basically like, I came out of my house and there's a crop circle. It's more visual evidence than anything else, which the pictures are really cool.
But what we're used to seeing, like these intricate geometric circles and whatnot as examples of crop circles. Do these kind of incidences where, a wind tunnel comes down real quick and knocks a bunch of wheat over, they can't look like that, right? Like a wind phenomenon is not making geometric shapes like we usually associate with crop circles.
Well, the wind phenomenon you're thinking of can't. But I think that's part of the whole question here.
Right. But I'm saying these kind of eyewitness things I would not expect to generate.
You just think it's going to be like kind of just mass.
Yeah, just everything mowed down. Maybe some circles because
I think that fits your theory of it being like a tornado. And then it's just like, well, it knocks everything down.
Right.
What they're saying is this wasn't a tornado. Maybe only the point of where it hit the ground was knocked over and it was making some kind of design.
I know you'll find this hard to believe, but I'm a little skeptical on the authenticity of crop circles.
Going back to the Arecibo message that was sent out in 1974, in 2001, an answer to that message appeared. This answer showed up as 2 crop circles right next to the Chilbolton radio telescope in Hampshire, UK.
Well, that's convenient, huh? That's pretty cool. They have GPS, those aliens. Let them right back to the signal. I like it.
One was what appeared to represent a human face, and the other was a near replica of the original message with a few changes. In the section detailing important elements, the focus was shifted from carbon to silicon. The diagram of the DNA helix was slightly altered, while the human figure was replaced by a typical gray alien with a large head. It also had different dimensions, making its height very short, and the population statistics were changed. This was 100% proven to be a hoax. But this is a really fucking cool hoax to put that much thought and effort into it, because it looked like the block grid rectangle of what that message would have looked like.
It's cool looking.
And when you put in the binary code, like whoever did this really thought this out.
Yeah.
Which it's a cool hoax. Like, I don't really like hoaxes, but
I love hoaxes.
I don't like alien hoaxes. I like fucking with people. Like, I like pranks and shit.
He's not a fan of the alien hoaxes. That fucking wounds his pride.
I love all hoaxes. And also 100% is a big number, Ian, so.
Oh, like you're saying there might be a chance that this was real?
I'm not prepared to accept 100% certainty in this scenario.
You prefer that 99.9.
I do. I like to leave a sliver of hope open. I've seen those crop circles there. Pretty cool looking.
They are cool looking for sure.
Yeah, all of them are really.
I'm gonna have
really
a crop
cool.
circle picture on my album cover for my first album coming out next year.
What's that gonna be called?
The Mike 2-Step. Yeah, it's a hip hop album.
Okay.
It's more like hardcore hip hop. Like
Really?
you guys won't be into it. It'd be too hard for you guys.
Okay.
But yeah. So, anyways, look for that.
I'm really looking forward to it now. Made my whole night hearing that. Like, did you get a record deal or you self doing it?
Yeah. Once you sign, you sold out. I like to just be my own boss. No one's going to tell me what I can and can't say. I have a lot to get off my chest. First song, Fuck You, Betty. Let's leave it at that.
What's your rapper name? Something like DJ Honky Lips?
No, it's just cool.
Mike 2-Step.
Mike 2-Step.
Oh, I thought that was just the name of the album.
It's both. It's self-titled.
Self-titled.
DJ Honky Lips one's a little bit better.
Well, that's my DJ. I'm the rapper. I got my DJ Honky Lips.
MC Mike and DJ Honky Lips.
We go on tour. We're called the Cracker Ass Bitches.
I'd pay to go to that show.
Coming to a town near you.
I have Wu-Tang tickets for March. I'm selling them so I can go to your show instead. I don't need any
I'm
Wu-Tang.
not trying to cause any divides and get into that hip-hop beef. You should go to their show. And you know what? Skip it, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be opening for me next year. We're in talks. Wu-Tang's going to open for Cracker Ass Bitches. The whole time they can be on stage talking about how these cracker ass bitches are going to come out in a little bit and try to rap.
So you brought up 99.9%, Dave.
Yes, I certainly did.
Let's get into what 99.9% of all of this can be attributed to. In 1991, two guys named Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley made headlines by claiming that it was them who started the phenomena in 1978 with the use of wooden planks, rope, and a baseball hat connected with a loop of wire to help them walk in straight lines. So the wire is going to the board, wrapped around the back of the hat. Basically, it's holding their head down so they can make perfectly straight lines.
High-tech solutions to...
Well, it was the 70s when they started this, right? They had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, pre-GPS or anything like that. It's just simple math.
And they said that they were inspired by the Tully saucer nest. They saw that on the news back when that happened. And this Doug guy, and I don't know if they saw it back when it happened, but they caught word of that story one way or another. And this Doug guy went to his friend Dave and was like, hey, you want to try and fuck with people and see if we can make a UFO landing? And then it just went from there. With these
fantastic.
Two.
It's like if those wankers in the penal colony can do that, we can do it too. I love it. It's great.
To prove their case, they made a crop circle in front of journalists. Then those journalists brought in a UFO investigator, Pat Delgado, who examined the circle and said it was authentic. Then the journalists revealed that it was a hoax.
Ouch.
Why the fuck did they burn him like that?
Oh, man. That's rough.
What did Pat Delgado do to anybody?
Yeah, that's a rough day at the office.
You got to retire after that, right?
Yeah.
You got to find a new line of work. They just ruined your entire, all your life's work.
I hope he was a part-time investigator. That wasn't his full-time gig.
Like we said, they were inspired by the Tully saucer nest, and they claim to be responsible for all circles made prior to 1987 and for more than 200 crop circles from 1987 to 1991. There were another 1,000 reported circles during that time frame, and they were not made by them.
Interesting. Do you think other people saw because I've seen the video of them doing it. It's really funny how simple it is. Like, do you think other people copied that method and that's how it kind of fanned out across the rest of the country?
Yeah.
I think
Seems
that
likely.
probably makes sense.
It almost seemed like people that wanted to do it, to get more and more intricate, like who could do better,
It's
more precise stuff.
It's like
It's like,
graffiti.
that's what I was going to say. This whole time, that was going to be my whole big build-up, Dave. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I think this entire thing is just graffiti.
Yeah.
It will. I mean, I thought of it 10 minutes ago. But it's just graffiti. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just people trying to outdo one another, one-up each other.
If I was these farmers, I'd be suing these guys. You
can
fucked up
catch
my
'em.
crop, man.
You can catch them or prove that it was like these two that did it.
Some civil damages there.
Can you imagine looking out your back window and seeing like a guy with like a hat on, like being pulled in a circle? Like, look at this fucking asshole.
I mean,
I got to shoot him.
it looks like a Monty Python movie, like the Holy Grail, where he's riding around on the fake horse, like they're galloping along with their board and plank, and it just looks ridiculous.
But the final product doesn't. Looks good.
They're good. I wonder why circles, like what's wrong with triangles?
Well, there are triangles. Some of those have gotten real
kind of
elaborate.
evolved. It seems like that might
Like the
be
lazy
easier.
people, the lazy ones are like, we'll just do this one. Triangle. It's not like a full square. We don't have to make that fourth side. We don't have to walk in a perfect circle.
That's right.
Let's do it real quick. Come on. Let's get out of here.
Margin of error is a lot easier to deal with. How about some
pub's still open? Let's fucking go.
like some crop, like trapezoids or crop rhombuses, make it a little bit more difficult.
Now we're talking.
The DNA one is really cool. Like the helix. Have you seen that picture?
From
Like-
from the radio tower, wasn't it?
No, like someone made a crop circle of like a huge DNA helix.
Oh, okay.
double helix. It's pretty sweet. I don't know how they pulled that one
It's
off.
really neat. I mean, it's very artistically or aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
It's neat. Unless it's your crop and you're trying to get it to market.
I think there was probably something to the Tully saucer nest. That sounded pretty credible. And there were some pretty credible people that couldn't figure that out. Mm-hmm. And it's just like other ones that I believe in, like the Rendlesham Forest one. There's some physical evidence left behind.
Right.
I think those one-off stories end up sparking other things. I think that's what happened here. I don't think there's just UFOs popping down all the time making these.
Right.
But I think there's probably something to that Tully story.
But the something's probably weather related. I mean, tornadoes can take a whole town out. I mean, it's not beyond reasonable imagination that they can pop down and make a circle in a field. I don't know. But these real intricate ones, that's not weather. So either it's hoaxers or it's UFOs. And I'm not sure I see evidence for UFOs. I mean, the description we talked about earlier with the authentic stuff, with the radiation and the heat and all that. I mean, is there evidence of people actually tested that? Like real evidence that they could point to?
To my knowledge, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see anything like that.
Just kind of anecdotal, UFO people.
Well, in all fairness, that's what they're saying. That's how you could tell if it's real or a hoax.
Yeah.
They're not saying they found any of the real ones, but they're saying that's how we would know if it was a real one.
So you think that's all hypothesis? Like, if this really did happen.
I'm sure they have instances that they're going to point to and say, well, this one's real.
Yeah.
I don't think we would buy it.
Can we talk about the video of the guy in 1996 in England?
That video is shown a lot in the UFO world.
Because they were making the case in that documentary I watched.
I saw it with my own two eyes. There's two lights in the sky making a crop circle.
They were drawing it as they were floating around, like in real time. It looked authentic to me.
Literally saw it with my own two eyes.
So you're saying that's not proof positive that the aliens create crop circles, Ian?
In the documentary you watched, they made like the case that was 100%. That guy was the one that filmed that, right?
Yes.
So I found out some information regarding this. There was a private investigator hired regarding this case, and it was found out that the guy John Whaley, who filmed this filmed this alleged video, was discovered to actually be John Wabe, an employee of a Bristol animation studio.
Oh, shit.
So John Whaley was not a real person.
That is fantastic. They swore up and down that they interviewed people in like 2004 about the ability to create that video using digital chicanery. And they're like, oh, no, 10 years ago, it would take weeks to make a video like this. And supposedly this guy had... he saw it that morning and showed people like a couple hours later. So it was nearly impossible to have been
He could never
faked.
do that.
Right. I don't know. I watched it. I feel like I could have made it on my Commodore 64 in 1987. Like, it's not that great. I don't know.
Well, he was really named John Wade.
That's very disappointing. I thought that was the proof that we needed there.
There's going to be people out there who believe it, though. Like fucking that whole...
Oh, there absolutely are.
The
Yeah.
fuck's that Bigfoot thing that people swear is legit?
The Grimley something. What's the name of the video?
Oh, the Patterson Gimlin film.
There's literally a guy who was like, yeah, I fucking made that suit. And they're like, no, he's lying. It's not him. He didn't do that. That's real.
People got angry with us.
Yeah, they didn't like our
it.
takes.
Oh. Can we post a link to the video somewhere?
Sure.
That's really funny. The orb one flying around. Yeah.
That's like Linda Moulton Howe. She's very pedal to the floor on that, on that kind of stuff. That's the documentary Mirage Men. Richard Doty pulled the wool over her eyes. He gave her some disinformation.
I remember that guy. Did she take that disinformation on our bell and
she
try to pass it off as real?
Doty made a fool out of her.
Yeah.
So
was that our Majestic 12?
We talked about him briefly in there. There's a whole Richard Doty episode coming up eventually.
That's an interesting guy.
Misinformation guy.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. I kind of felt like I shit all over this even when I was writing it, but crop circles are just, I don't know.
It's just one of those fun things that it's like, it's cool to think about if they were real, but like, there's just nothing to it, like to support it. It seems like.
What about, there's so many of these. Like, have any farmers or anyone that owns these lands that the crops or the circles are done on reported catching people in the act? Like, it's not something you can go in there and
fucking circle.
Yeah, like it's not something you can jump in there and do in 10 minutes. Like, you're going to be at this person's farm for a couple hours every night. It just seems
more than like some of these are so intricate. It's got to be hours and hours.
Or the farmer's in on it and they kind of pay him to let them do it. And
maybe
it just seems unusual that there's no. I've never seen
press attention.
Yeah, like farmer caught these yahoos.
Do they not have floodlights?
Circles.
They don't have floodlights or something on. Like
Seems unusual to me.
This day of smartphones, notice you don't catch anything.
You would just suspect some of these people to be caught in the act.
That has
more
always
often.
been one of my biggest questions with crop circles is some of these look like they, especially back in the day, would have taken hours upon hours to make.
Yeah, if not days,
It almost
right?
takes days.
Yeah.
How is nobody catching this?
Right.
Well, you saw the video. It happened in like 2 minutes.
That's true.
There was
The hoaxer
two
guys?
Orbs.
Yeah,
The orbs.
the two orbs did it in 2 minutes.
Oh, the orbs.
The orb.
I thought you meant the hoax guys.
If you do
I'm
the-
trying to remember how
if you
long
do
it took them to do that. I'm like, it wasn't
Based
that
on the
quick.
orbs, you could do about 10 houses a night.
I love that orb video. It's so great. It's like digitally drawing the crop circle.
Well, I would say final thoughts, but I feel like we've kind of wrapped that one up there. Anything else, Ian, that you learned that was interesting or something that you didn't know before?
No, this is all the same stuff.
In the UFO world, are crop circles widely accepted, or are they kind of like the outskirts of it? Like what does MUFON and NICAP think about all this? Like,
I would think that.
or is
I would
it kind
say
of
it's
split?
I bet you it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
I would say it's a 50-50. I could see a lot of people that are that frequent those documentaries. There's a couple people from MUFON that you see on a lot of these type of documentaries.
It's something that's hard to disprove, so I think people latch onto it.
Yeah.
Take it for real.
Well,
how can
until
just-
you out Pat Delgado and you were like, oh, it is two schmoes who fucking did this. and that at that point you can be like, well, this could be anybody then who's just pulling the wool. They could pull wool over the expert's eyes.
Right.
And any Joe Farmer out there can be fooled.
What if we start a new phenomenon out here in town and it's lawn circles? We just go start carving stuff in people's lawns overnight. Like you just use gasoline, right? Do like drawings in people's front yards.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
All right. I'm in. Where we live, we would get shot in within a week. We would be shot and killed.
Yeah, that's true.
Or we would accidentally burn down someone's house and
So that.
That wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
go to jail for arson.
We're probably the only 3 people in town that don't have guns. Like they would just open fire on us.
That would be, we'd be fucked. That'd be it. It's the Wild West out here. We literally live in Tombstone, Ohio. It's Tombstone, Ohio. And we're all like the bartenders who are just like the innocent ones that don't get in fights. And then, when push comes to shove, you get bitch smacked around because everyone else has got a gun. And what are you supposed to do?
That's just a bit. I have an arsehole down here, so don't even think about robbing my house, pal. I see people's thought bubbles going on out there in the audience.
I'm literally sitting next to his assault rifle and his buckshot
Fucking A.
and a slingshot, which he just randomly has here.
I got
He's fucking
an
Bart
operational
Simpson.
Gatling gun, so I'll mow you down.
I don't even know what he just said. Is that it? That's a weapon? A Gatling gun?
Gatling gun. Back from the old days, you just spray
Oh, okay.
like the
Like the
crank
little
gun.
yeah. I know the little rotator thing. I could do that. That's an easy one. I could do that.
That's
one.
your job then. When we defend the studio.
One hand on a beer, one hand is rotating the gun. Not even moving the gun, just straight. Don't walk right in front of me. You can get shot. You move left or right, you're safe. No, I want to be like fucking Barry Pepper in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, there you go.
He was
Sniper.
badass in that movie. Sniper would be the coolest thing. I mean, obviously you have to be the best shot, but that'd be so cool.
Until they turn the cannon on your clock tower.
Right. Well, that wouldn't be good. Well, like the whole part of a sniper is to be incognito, right?
Sure.
He didn't do a very good job there.
They located him. Yeah.
That'd be sweet though. All right. Well, that went on a bit of a tangent.
You got to be like the German Nazi sniper in Inglourious Bastards. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
I only seen that once.
Like they made the movie about him. He's just smoking like hundreds of Americans. So
That's what Inglourious Bastards is about?
you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, they made like a fake
course I
movie based on this guy who was this great sniper. It's funny.
Gotcha.
We'll do it next month. I'll make you watch it.
I would absolutely watch that movie though.
It's so
I just
great.
haven't seen it.
I was watching
really
it the other day. It's great.
All right. Anything else on that one? Crop circles?
It's a little silly.
Yeah, it's one of the problems in the UFO world, in my opinion.
Problematic for us here in the UFO world.
It's not great.
Oh, there goes your chance to run MUFON.
Yeah. Eventually, I'd like to do the Nazca lines.
Oh, those are cool.
Those are interesting. Like that's
neat.
more of a debate and kind of theorizing and reading up on some actual history.
Well, I believe some truck driver just drove through there. He didn't know where he was at.
That is so fucking absurd. That is
not too long ago.
I don't even know what this is, but I'm in. It sounds interesting.
It's in
Pretty cool.
Peru.
Count me in.
Like large drawings, like ancient civilization drawings in the ground. Like huge fucking drawings.
If you ask the Ancient Aliens guy, it's probably it's a landing strip for alien craft, right?
For sure. And
kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
That's a good story. That'll be fun. The Ancient Alien stuff's fun.
Which makes it all the more fun if it was just someone fucking around.
Back in the day.
Yeah, and they're just like, let's just put those drawings and then random things. People be asking forever what this is. And you win, right? You win at that point. People are talking about you forever.
You remember for history.
Yeah.
You are what you leave behind, right?
So, all right.
How do they date, though? How far back do they date that?
It's a long time. I'll look it up.
You want to do the episode right now, Dave?
While Ian's checking, Mike, can we get an update on you? I understand that per my suggestion, you tried the Subway steak and cheese sandwich.
That's true.
This week.
You had your tuna with mustard. I had my steak
not
and
good.
cheese from Subway.
And you paid 3 times as much because you DoorDashed it, correct?
Yeah, based on your suggestion, because I was texting you guys about how I was going to go get it today, but it was a little cold and I was not looking forward to it. And you're like, dude, motherfucking just DoorDash that shit. $21 later, I get a fucking sub sandwich from Subway.
I get a $20 Blizzard and French fries all the time from Dairy Queen.
Yeah, but I bet that was worth it, pal.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't bad. It was better than I expected, but I expected it to be trash. It was okay. I did not like the texture of the steak. It was one of those where it's like, it reminded me of like when you have like chewy bacon on a sandwich, you take a bite, the whole thing pulls off. I was getting a lot of that.
All right.
So I did not love the texture of the steak. Not a ton of flavor. I put jalapenos on. I think I got the exact thing you did.
No.
I went pepper jack cheese, lettuce, tomato, jalapenos, chipotle sauce. I did not get red onions because I'm not an onion fan. The jalapenos just make everything, I think, taste better. And that was really kind of all I tasted. It was okay. I would not get it again.
Really?
Yeah, would not get it again.
Fair enough.
But I gave it an honest shot. And it wasn't bad. I ate the whole thing, obviously. $21 fucking dollars. I'm eating that whole thing. I would not get
You're
it
licking
again,
the plate for $21.
Picking up every bit of lettuce that falls off. I don't like Subway's lettuce at all. That shredded lettuce is so disgusting.
Lettuce is not great.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I don't like shredded lettuce. Just put on like the bigger like leaves of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It always just seems like shredded lettuce is always just nasty, gross stuff.
I heard from people. A lot of people agreed with you on that sandwich. Like, I'm not suggesting it's gourmet food. I know it's not great, but it's,
But they're like, I
tasty, I think.
So people said that they had tried it and didn't like it.
It's Subway. And,
We're not saying Subway's
like,
great.
like what's at the corner?
I forget whatever the conversation was, but my initial point was, if I'm going there, typically I get their meatball sub. I don't think their meatball sub is bad at all. It's pretty good. And then that led to the steaks conversation.
That's just what I get when I go there. I mean, if DeBella's is next door, I'm not going to fucking Subway.
I'm not going out of my way to get Subway. In fact, I had to look for where the nearest Subway was by us just to even go find it and get one.
Yeah, right. I understand it's not a gourmet meal.
God damn, that DoorDash is fucking expensive, man.
It really is.
I was texting you guys about how much it was before I even saw the final price. I thought it was charging me $17, and I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. $21 for a fucking steak sandwich from Subway.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, Ian, go ahead.
No, I would say, what do you got? Nazca lines.
500 BC.
Okay, so that's pretty cool.
And they're still mind fucking us.
Well, yeah, like this guy.
Yeah, like what's going on there?
But it's fucking massive. I mean, it's
Gumby.
It kind of looks like Gumby, but it's like way up on a mountain. Like it's huge. Yeah. Even there's a monkey and a spider.
A truck driver line.
That is so fucking ridiculous. Like I just ruined a whole bunch of ancient shit.
How the fuck did he go up on the side of that thing?
I don't know how he got up there. I just remember reading he drove through it.
these things stretch for miles. I mean, it's a lot. So some of it is flat,
but you're not supposed to drive over them.
Probably not.
And
I think it's frowned upon.
Yeah, it's a ruin.
But it's not like carved into the ground. Like that. How did that truck driver mess it up? Like, how do these things last that long?
I don't know exactly what damage. I just read that he drove through them.
We're 100%.
No.
We're 100% going to have to do an episode on this. I have so many questions.
No, they're cool.
Yeah.
It's a neat thing.
Yeah.
Any cool shit done by, people anytime in BC, I think is entertaining and interesting.
I think that'd be a fun one.
My opinions have changed on Ancient Aliens a lot over the years.
That's a good teaser.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
All right.
All right, we got some new patrons to shout out. Thank you man, there's a lot of them. Ooh, look at that. We had a good week. Thank you very much to new patrons Robert Casillas, Lauren Baker, In Need of Pod, Holly D, Sky Grinter, Samantha Robinson, Michael Guidati, Matt Foy, Justin Fisher, Michael Gebhardt, Tracy, Jackie, Christian Bonilla, Ashley Pagan, Dylan Sievers, Ashlyn Davis, Carrie Baranov, Rex, Amanda Henson, Will Barkowski, Casey Leacher, Stephanie, Alexandra Algier, Goth is for Necronomipod, Katrina Williams, Gash Williams, Marina Garza, Loops, Garrett Daggs, Kyle Worstel, Sauced Yam, Amber Minton, Alyssa Petruno, Joseph Tatum, Chafed Chili Ring, Emil Carlson, Paige Maury, Anna, Big Dick Daddy from Cincinnati, a.k.a. Cervix Wrecker 3000.
Is that for real what the whole thing was?
It's actually Big period Dick period Daddy period from period Cincinnati, a.k.a. Cervix Wrecker 3000. Cervix Wrecker 3000. Him and College Mike would have got along real well. Pablo Tutla, MB, J.R. Kukju, Charmaine Swart, Amy Ford, Charlotte, Mike Wright, Tyler Hensky, Gemma Gray, Katie Anderson, Allie R.S., Ashley, Jessica Espinoza, Hunter Pop, Christy Elder, Morgan and Casey, Susan Urbach, Chris, Connor Chandler, Tim A., Sam's Drunken Muff Liquor, Cole, Katie, Carta, Nurse Bella, Blanchie, Connor Mohan, Lindsay, Miranda Johnson, Caravan Frizzle, and Midwest Freak Show. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it. Patreon.com/Necronomipod. Ian.
For iTunes, I only have one tonight for Talon Threads.
Dave, what do you got? Anything else?
Come on, reviewers. One?
Yeah.
Step up the review activity.
Didn't they just add reviews like Spotify too? Or just ratings?
Just ratings.
Yeah.
Those are doing really well, people.
Yeah. Thanks for the Spotify ratings.
Yeah.
I have one small update. I'd like to inform you guys that my Would You Eat Sushi Off Ron Jeremy's Naked Body poll. Yes. Final results, no, 75%. Yes, 25%.
All right.
So I'd like to hang out with those 25% that would eat sushi off of Ron Jeremy. Good for you guys.
You guys can also eat steak and cheese sandwiches and have your tuna without mustard. Just be a happy little bunch.
There you go.
All right. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Necronomipod, Amazon.com. Search Necronomipod for all of our merch, and Patreon.com/Necronomipod. If you wish to sign up for Patreon, the $5 tier, you're getting 3 bonus shows a month. The $10 tier, you're getting all of the previous 3 bonus shows plus the Necro Night at the Movies, which seems to be a very big hit. The first one was really is doing really well, and people seem to like it. So hopefully you guys can check it out. Patreon.com/Necronomipod. Thanks.
All right, you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.